Can we maybe talk about, you said load and no code options. Did this allow you to develop the software, the product yourself, or did you have to take on funding or outside resources? Can you just talk about that development process? I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, so we self-funded because we used a low-code, no-code platform. And I'll be honest, so we used Bubble. Bubble.io is the platform we used. The biggest mistake I made there is I mean, I'm a technical person, but I did not stay close to this technically. Um, and the people we used to do the first version um, talked a good game, but were not good execution, at least up to my
Hmm.
level of what it should have been. And then, it's my, I take full responsibility for that. But in the same token, we've got a product that now is pretty solid. So we made that mistake early, and we rectified it. Um, but the low code, no code platform, the Bubble platform specifically, has actually been really good. I mean, I don't spend a lot of time in it, but I can build something myself. If I have an idea and I'm sitting like 9 o'clock at night on a evening and I'm like, oh, let me see if I can just build this thing. I can build it pretty much in 3 4 hours
Hmm.
for it to be ready to go into the product. Maybe with a
Hmm.
bit of, okay, let's be fair, I'm not, I need someone to make it look pretty, but it's functional in 3 or 4 hours. I can have something ready to use. Um, and that's one of the reasons why I took the risk a year ago is because I wanted something. I didn't want to build something from scratch. I built a lot of stuff from scratch, and it just takes too long, and there's a lot of risk. But by doing it this way, we were able to get up and running because of the way the technology was built, or the way Bubble's built specifically. And there's a few low code, no code options. Um, I've been able to build some stuff. We've got a developer who's never used Bubble before, who is picking up and being able to build stuff, faster and faster every day.
Hmm.
And I think having a developer background is really important. It really helps you be logical in how you approach things. Um, and then our product manager, who's working on the project, she can go in, and if she sees something, she can fix it. Now that kind of breaks the traditional developer, development team roles and responsibilities and all that kind of stuff. But if it's a spelling error or it's a label that's in the wrong place, wrong font, all that kind of stuff, it doesn't matter that she goes and fixes that kind of stuff because that just saves us having to log a ticket or create
Hmm.
a task, have a discussion about it, all the rest of it. You talk about a cosmetic change that takes her maybe 30 seconds to go and do because she can do branching and merging and all that kind of stuff because she's learned that in a couple of minutes of just looking at the tool.
Hmm.
Um, but in the minute it takes her to go and fix it versus the 5 minutes or 10 minutes it would take to discuss it, create a task, and put it in a sprint, that's been huge.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a silly thing to pull out, but it is huge. And I sit in a meeting and I'm doing a demo and I'm making notes while I'm doing the demo. Going, oh, I must fix that thing there. I literally will go fix it after the meeting for 5 minutes. In that gap that I might have, and that's been huge because in building stuff before, if you notice something in a demo or working with a product, that would have to go through a whole life cycle chain to get fixed. Um, but you can do the quick stuff quickly, which is great. Now there are frustrations with it with any sort of platform like this. I mean, it's the Excel problem. You can do a lot of stuff in Excel,
Hmm.
but the problem with Excel is it's Excel. It's flexible, so you can't constrain it very well. And then whenever you take something from Excel that's been free, flexible, do whatever you want in it, to now into a system, and the user loses their flexibility, there's a level of frustration. It's the same thing with using a low code, no code platform. You can do a lot of stuff with it, but there's stuff that's going to be frustrating. So, for example, the way the guys built the UI in the first version, they put a lot of things in that were not good practices to using the platform. So now we've
Hmm.
had to go and undo all of those things. And if we'd just known that they were doing that and we'd stopped in the beginning, we would have saved ourselves a huge amount of time. Not only in the build side, but also now this cleanup side. But functionally, it does a lot of stuff really well. It looks pretty decent. It's got integration with Figma, so you can do your stuff in Figma and then import it into Bubble, so it looks good from that point of view. And then there's quite a good community around it in the sense of people building plugins and widgets. So if you're looking for something like a graphical thing, or I do a lot of calculations. So I was looking for a calculation thing. There's someone who's built it, or is in the
Hmm.
process of building it, and you're paying like $20, $15 for a Gantt chart
Yeah.
to just put in your project. And that's beautiful. So I almost liken it to a if you had to go redo WordPress as a
Hmm.
business application product, it's like that, because WordPress is very similar. You just go download the widgets, you import it, and you use it.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's one of the strengths we've found. And we also don't worry about infrastructure. So everything, the price I pay to use it per month, I don't worry about any infrastructure. It's all part of the deal. So we get a certain level of capacity. We can boost that capacity up if we want to. We can shrink it down if we want to, but I don't have to worry about servers. I don't have to worry about am I in AWS or in Azure or any of those things. So from
Hmm.
a resource point of view, we can stay pretty bootstrapped because I don't need to worry about other complications in my life.
Yeah.
Um, we just worry about doing the work with the customer.